Well, hello, everybody.
Hey-o.
Yo.
Welcome to Sports and Spaghetti episode number 104. We're moving right on up. We went straight past 100, and we did not stop.
We didn't. No looking back.
This is episode number 2 of Globe on the Stove, where we are taking our top 9 genres of food,
Cuisines, if you would.
sure thing, and we are cooking them week after week after week throughout really the middle of the summer. And last week, if you missed it, I made Italian, which was my first pick in our draft. This is week 2, and Anthony drafted
Greek food.
Greek.
You see the pita off
That
camera.
is the telling sign right there. I'm going to have a bite of this.
Off camera, we have just a regular pita, brother.
Oh,
Off camera, we have some Greek food as well as some Greek sauces, a little salad going on. You can call it a salad, but it's not really. It's more of a spread. But I'm ready to get right into it if you fellas are.
yes, but before we do that, I have some business to take care of. The Jolly Rancher word of the week is described as something that scientists send up into the atmosphere to collect data about the weather, such as pressure, humidity, temperature, wind speed, conditions, etc.
The answer is not Katy Perry.
That is right.
Nay, nay.
This particular thing really technically is in inner space longer than Katy Perry was. So there is a lot of truth to your statement, Anthony Panthony. All right, I'm ready to dive right into this, Ant. I'm hungry myself. I made little quesadillas for everybody at home, which has been on a previous episode. But I only had a small bowl of chicken and rice because I wanted to kind of be hungry and eat it. Because if you're not hungry and you eat something, it's definitely not going to taste as good, especially if you've never had it. Let's do it.
Yeah, so this week, everybody was expecting the gyro, something Greek, pasticcio, I talked about it. We are going very simple Greek street food. We are going with the chicken souvlaki. I've made some tzatziki sauce.
I've never had souvlaki before.
Souvlaki,
Yeah.
souvlaki. It's pretty much a Greek kebab. It means meat on a stick. So, tzatziki sauce, which we'll get into how to make that, and then Melitzanosalata, which means
Aubergine.
roughly translated to eggplant salad.
It's aubergine, Anthony.
Yeah, so
I'm going to eat an eggplant. And I have a strong opinion about eggplant.
listen, I just want you to give it a try. That's all I ask.
I'm not trying it.
You are
I'm
trying
not
it.
trying.
You
I'm
are
not-
trying it.
I'm not trying.
You will try it.
I'm not trying the
Guys,
aubergine.
Yes, he will.
I'm not
Guys,
trying-
it's really not
I'm
that
not
bad.
trying the aubergine.
He's trying an eggplant. He's going to put an eggplant in his mouth.
Pause.
You ate blood soup.
Yeah, that was different. Because that was more liquid, like a liquid.
I pulled my headphones. You are eating it.
I'm not eating the aubergine.
Yeah, you will. It's
I will
fine.
not eat
It's
the
fine.
aubergine.
So we'll take a quick break here. We'll munch. We'll be back to you.
All right. You're eating
I ain't
that
eating no
eggplant.
aubergine, bro.
You are.
Nah, that's
Merch,
disgusting.
You're eating that eggplant.
No merch.
Anyway, we're back. And we just had souvlaki. We just had souvlaki with pita, tzatziki, and how do you say it? I don't want to get it wrong.
Melitzanosalata.
Melitzanosalata. Which means eggplant salad.
Please wipe your face.
And your nose.
Here, this is fresh.
Eviscerated in the chat.
Okay, so
Chat.
go ahead.
What? No.
Oh.
I don't listen.
If you guys want to see how to make this marinade, I recorded myself cooking. So we'll actually have some footage to do, which is
Lovely.
good. Okay, so it is very easy. Like most of the things I make, Greek food is very simple.
I think you say that every time you cook something.
I really don't cook anything that hard, if you really think about it. The hardest thing I ever cooked was the croissants, and those were gas.
You bet they were.
Those are so
Oh,
good.
you bet.
Anyway, the marinade for this is very easy. I took 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. I chopped them pretty small. And all of this goes in a gallon-sized, freezer-sized, whatever you want to call it, Ziploc bag. So I took some chicken breast, cleaned it up, trimmed it up. Left some of the fat on, not much. Took some garlic, chopped the garlic up real nice and thin. Some good olive oil, threw that in there. The juice of probably 2 to 3 lemons. Very lemony here. A splash of white wine. Then from the splash of white wine, we add some spices. I have Greek oregano, both dried and fresh. I have a little bit of sweet paprika, salt, and pepper. That's the whole marinade. You're going to put it in a bag, let it sit at least a couple hours. Overnight is best. And that's it. You cut it up into about an inch, inch and a quarter, inch and a half cubes, chunks, whatever you want to call it. Throw them on a skewer. And then you throw them on a grill. And the hotter the grill, the better. Mine was over a wood fire grill. Typically in Greece, this would be done over a wood fire. You just throw them over there. Keep basting it with the leftover marinade while it's cooking. And that's about it. It's chicken breast, so it goes pretty quick. Keep an eye on it. But you kind of want that like crispy outside on it. You want the little burnt ends, the bits of it. And I think it's great. What do you guys think?
It was lovely. I didn't have an issue with it. I'm okay with it.
No issue is good. No issue is great when it comes to Nikki.
That's true.
Chris, when you're done chewing.
This is so good. Yeah. Oh, Anthony.
Now, I did hear a little birdie say, "Oh, what's that sauce on it?" Well, that is tzatziki sauce, which is like, it's like the Greeks thing. If you want to know how to make that, guess what? Recorded that too, baby.
Wow.
So,
all right, how do I make this? How do I make this?
Melitzanosalata. Okay, so what I did is I took 2 eggplants, or aubergines if you're not from the U.S. I cut the top and the bottom off, cut them in half, and then you just throw them either in a broiler, on a grill. I did mine over, again, my pellet fire grill, and you're just going to char it. So you char the front, the back, all the sides. You want to get it squishy. Then once you do that, you peel all the burnt skin off because you don't want to eat that. It's not good. You peel all that off, and then you're going to drain it. So put it in a colander over another bowl, let all the water drip out, moisture drip out, throw it in a food processor or a blender. Now, most people will do normal garlic, but this is Anthony and Chris, so I said roasted garlic here. Let me wood fire roast the garlic too. So I went very simple. Made a little foil packet, garlic, olive oil, salt. Rolled that up, threw it on the grill, let that go for as long as the eggplant. Then I had some roasted garlic. That goes in the food processor as well. You're going to mix that up. I did a little bit of Greek yogurt, a little bit of leftover shredded cucumber from the tzatziki sauce, which not typical. It's what I wanted to do. And then I did a quarter of a red onion, finely diced, salt, pepper, lemon juice, out the door.
Anthony, this is really good food. Ready?
Let's do it.
9-4.
Ooh, for both?
9-4.
I have, okay. So we'll just do Ant's Greek and not separate. 9-4 is huge. Nikki.
I don't know why it's the first thing that came to my head. So shout out to Chris's class, but I'm gonna give it like a 6-7.
I knew it. I knew as soon as you said like a 6-7.
6.7.
6-7.
I feel like I'm going to follow a rule where I can't give myself a 10. I don't want to do that. I'm going to go same thing as my pineapple pie, 9-8.
I'm sorry to bring your rating down. It's just not my cup of tea.
That's okay.
We finish this off with an 8.63.
I think it deserved better than that. But that's okay. That's why there's 3 of us. 9-4 for me. That's fabulous. That's good.
I feel like you are absolutely going to eat Nick's, and there's like 2 pieces of chicken
No,
left.
I'm still on the cut. I'm not going to eat it.
Brother,
Listen, you have
chicken and yogurt.
You have
my
to
guy.
understand a
The pita.
6-7.
Yeah, I'm saying there's non-pita chicken and there's leftover
I'll have the
tzatziki.
chicken. Yeah, you bet
Yeah.
I will.
You have to understand 6.7 for me is like
That's fine.
that's good.
That was good.
That means it's edible.
Let's be fair. Nikki has only ever given higher than a 6.7
3 times, I think.
8 times.
For the things that I make that I know he'll like.
Basically.
Let's see what he gives.
The highest score on Nick's chart of all time is your chocolate cream pie,
Well, yeah, that's
And last week's.
followed by the cake. Oh yeah, well a 10, yeah. And then the chocolate cream pie
He said
followed
20 out of 10.
followed by your Chris quesadilla.
Okay, see what I'm saying? So it's the things that I know he's gonna love.
We had a good day on the wing episode. The tonkatsu and the wings really made me feel good.
Yes, indeed. No, that's all good, man. Hey, that was delicious, Anthony. That was fabulous. You know what else is fabulous? I'll tell you something else that's fabulous. The Los Angeles Kings, not because they're winning their series, because they're losing their series. But I'm talking about what they've done. The Koreatown, this is in no particular order, the Koreatown Senior and Community Center of Los Angeles have a group of ladies that play the harmonica, okay? They have gone in 1 year's time from playing in classrooms in the greater Los Angeles area to being asked to come perform the national anthem at the Los Angeles Kings home game during Game 1 of the playoffs. What is it? It's not SAP Center anymore. Or Staples Center. Is it still Staples? It's SAP now? Whatever it is.
No idea.
Anyway, they were such a hit that they were asked to come back for Game 2. And then the Kings won both of those games. So they asked them to come back again for Game 5. Wow. I love this. That's a great feel-good story. And when I was thinking about the good of the week, since I did 3 goods last week, I said this week I want it to be a feel-good good. That's like a great story.
But it's like, it's awesome. It's harmonicas. You don't think national anthem harmonicas.
Brilliant.
Yes, they're good luck charm. No.
And if they force a Game 7, I bet they'll be back again. Why would they not? It's just fantastic, and that's my good of the week. All right. The of the week is Arsenal. Arsenal is in the semifinals of the Champions League. They lost their semifinal first leg to PSG 1-0. Okay? Now, Dembele scored for PSG. But what the game really showcased for me is that Arsenal, who plays in the Premier League, needs a better scoring forward. And now that Jesus is not in the picture, it's got to be better than Mikel Merino, because Merino was supposed to come in and replace Jesus, but he hasn't done that. He's done an okay job as a stopgap, but my thing is that Arsenal's not going to be able to win the second leg without somebody like Jesus, and that can offset Dembele and the other scorers on PSG, of which there are many. And so I know my students will love that I talked soccer, and I felt this was an appropriate place to put Arsenal because I thought they were going to do better than they did. I thought that was going to be honest, I thought they were going to draw. I thought it was going to come down to penalties after the second leg, and right now I don't know if Arsenal can compete with PSG. PSG could have, it might actually come back to bite PSG because they could have made that game 3-0. There were a couple of big, wide open opportunities for PSG to score late in the game to put it away, and they didn't cash in. So Arsenal's not completely dead, but I think they're in trouble. And that's why they're my
I have to agree. I think Arsenal they're missing that one piece to the puzzle. That's why they haven't won the Premier League yet.
Yeah.
And that's why they ultimately probably won't win the Champions League. It's the one piece they're missing.
Yep. I agree. All right, ready for the bad? The Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks.
My basketball team.
Yes. Are close to earning an all-time bad award, if that were to exist, in my 10 years of this segment being a thing. They were up by 20. All right, teams go up by 20 and lose. The game ended up being tied. So they went to overtime. And then they were up by 7 with 40 seconds to go in overtime. And they lost to the Pacers. And not only did they lose, but the series was clinched in this manner.
They lost on a last-second layup.
How is that even possible? For even a team like the Islanders, how is that possible to collapse that badly twice in a game with 40 seconds left? How is that possible?
Listen, I think the Dagger was losing Dame. He went out, tore his Achilles halfway through that game. Or was it through that game or was it the game before?
No, it was that game.
Yeah. But Dame tears his Achilles and
It was at the beginning, though.
pretty much ended the season. As soon as that happened, there was no hope because they didn't have any juice. They lost the games Dame didn't play in, and then they came back and won. So he played a big part. The Bucks are in a bad spot. The Bucks are in a really bad spot. Giannis wants to stay there, but they have no draft capital. They have, I think, pretty much everybody except like Giannis is a free agent, and they're strapped on cash. So I'd love to see what happens. I'm going to say this now. If Giannis goes somewhere else, I'm leaving the Bucks. I don't care about basketball. Giannis was Greek. Jason Kidd was the coach when he got drafted. Jason Kidd was my favorite player as a kid. I'm half Greek. A match made in heaven. So wherever Giannis goes, I don't care. Don't call me bandwagon. That's my new team.
Well, now we're going to talk about Giannis. Good segue, Anthony. So Giannis got into a heated exchange with the dad of the Pacers, Tyrese Hellebuyck. And Halliburton's dad was like in his face, in Giannis's face, showing him like a poster or something of a towel with Tyrese's face on it. And he was shouting at him, swearing at him, cursing at him. And Giannis got up in his face and basically was like, we don't do that. And at the press conference afterwards, he said the same thing. He said, listen, I'm friends with Tyrese, but that is uncalled for. And he'll say the same thing, that was uncalled for. We don't have any place for that. Let the players play and the fans be fans. Well, Halliburton did exactly that in the press conference after. He was like, we're boys. That is not acceptable behavior from any fan. Doesn't matter whose dad it is. It's unacceptable, and I will have to speak with my dad about this. But this brings up something that I've seen growing up, and especially now as a parent. Even bringing Sabrina to dance. There's a lot of these. Why do parents at all levels feel the need to meddle in players' business so much?
I think they're trying to live out the dreams they couldn't have through a kid. If you look at like baby Gronk, he was a big thing. Like, I don't know if he's still a big thing, but like he's like 13, 14. He's like middle school, and his dad is like, you see all the behind the scenes stuff, and it's like, oh, no, take this picture with this like, it's stupid. And like you could tell, like the dad's like 5'7", never made it in football, and it's like you get these players, you get these parents that are living through or trying to live through their kids. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Where I see it the most, Nick, is I think in baseball. I think
100%.
baseball's so guilty of this. Where you have, I mean, you've played, I've seen enough of your games.
Well, it's such a quiet, slow-paced game, and the fans are so close.
Right.
So you can just hear everything.
I think another issue with baseball too is it's easy to understand, but it's complex to understand.
But I'm saying where the parents, like, if there's a bad call, it's immediately accost the umpire. We're just on him. Just boom. And you see videos of the umpire calling the game. They called it, and they're like, well, now you wonder why there's no umpires. It's because the parents stop. Let the kids play. If there's like a play at the plate and the catcher, he blocked the plate. He blocked the plate. Stop.
I just saw when it was a softball team, and they had to have been like middle school, high school, and the girl was like warming up, like taking cuts or whatever, and didn't see the catcher behind her throwing.
I've seen
and like
that.
she hit her, and then immediately she was like, "She needs to be ejected." Her mother was like, "She needs to be ejected," and they're like,
Right.
"What
We
are
have
you?
no place for
what-
this
yeah,
on
like,
our
what
field.
are you talking about?"
Our girls work so hard. There's the one where the umpire was yelling at a parent, and it was at the dad, and the wife goes, "He's one of our firefighters. Who cares?"
So there's a. I'm gonna try to find him on find his name, but there's a. I don't know if you've ever seen. There's a whole TikTok side of umpires that wear GoPros.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah,
so
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm
So
getting
sick.
at.
Yeah, it's on my page.
Yeah, there's one guy where he's super cool.
He's like a younger guy, right?
Yeah, he's super cool, and he's like, yeah, no, that's outside, and they're arguing, and he's like, do you want to see it? Like, no, it's outside. I think they need to police umpires, body cams at all time.
Teachers.
Yeah, that way you can be like, hey, guess what?
Yep.
But my question though is, we talk about parents living life like their lives through their children because they were never good at sports. What happens when you get parents that were good at sports and they expect certain things out of their kids?
Are you talking about Deion and Shadur Sanders?
I may be talking about Deion and Shadur Sanders.
Yeah, this is a very different issue. And we saw it with the Ball brothers, especially Lonzo. It's a really cringy and embarrassing look for everybody.
The thing that bothers me too is, let's not even talk about Shador right now. Let's talk about Shiloh. Shiloh's going to be good, dude.
Yeah.
If you watch him in drills, he'll tackle, he hits. He's going to be very good. The Bucks got him as an undrafted free agent. He's going to be really good. But that's beside the point. Let's talk about Shador here. If you lived under a rock or don't know what's going on in the NFL draft, Shador Sanders was projected to go as high as second overall.
Right.
Did not go in the first round. Did not go in the second round. Did not go in the third round. Did not go in the fourth round. He was a fifth round draft pick.
But we knew that news. We all knew that news, right?
Most people know.
But yeah.
Now,
I don't think Melissa.
who's Shador? Who's Deion?
Who cares? Is that somebody in
Do
my
you want to
book?
help me put this kid to sleep, or
No,
are we
you're
talking
just gonna
about
sit
people
on
I
your
don't care?
phone? Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about why. And there's a lot of people are saying that the league is trying to humble him. There's people saying that it's wrong and it's racism. There's people saying all sorts of stuff.
So I am on Panthers Twitter, as most of you know. I don't know how I got on this side of Panthers Twitter, but everything is about race on this. It's like, oh, they cut Cam Newton because he's black, and it's like, no. There's a
What
couple
are you on Threads.
There's a no. There's a couple creators on this Twitter, on Panthers Twitter, where it's like everything is about race all the time, and that's it. But I follow them because it's good content. I am not going to say their names, but it's a little ridiculous. First off, the first overall pick in this draft was a black quarterback. So throw that out the window.
Right?
It's in a sport dominated by mostly African Americans.
Right.
You can throw racism out the window. But what about Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield? Okay, yeah, they were both intense, but they didn't show up to the combine hat backwards to the side, not participating in any drills, saying don't draft me if you don't want to change your team's culture. There's been reports, obviously I'm not an insider, there's been reports
Lots of reports.
that his pre-draft interviews were horrendous.
I mean, Dable said that he gave him the playbook, right? Like a scheme, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, so they gave him an install, which is pretty much, hey, this is the play, do it. And this is obviously all hearsay, but it's like, I guess Shedeur didn't do it, and when they called him out on it, he then got upset and was like, oh, maybe I'm not right for the Giants. What?
It comes down. What did I text you? I said the theme of this episode is entitlement. There's a lot of entitlement. And I think this is where it ties into having the dad that he has. Because his dad is Mr. Entitlement. Is he not?
But listen, Deion earned it. Deion is the best cornerback of all time.
That's fine. But it rubbed off on his kid.
Of course.
And now his kid is projecting that.
Legendary.
Right.
The problem is not with his talent. Nick, we talked about this last week on an episode that's not going to air because of this whole big mess.
Yep.
But
It should. I think it should.
there's a lot. You can't call him a bust if he went in the fifth
Yeah,
round. He's
that was-
gone
Yeah,
to
but
gem
obviously he
territory.
wasn't
It's already been
expected
scrapped.
to. Okay,
So-
fine.
The thing with Shedeur is
It's a fun time,
The
though.
kid is. It was a fun time. The kid is super talented. The kid's uber talented. He's a very good quarterback. I think he's talent wise the second best in the draft class.
Right.
You know the theory I agree with? I saw this theory. This is the only one I believe to be completely true. And nothing can change my mind. It was literally just to get people to watch the whole draft. It was this.
Yeah.
It was day 2 and day 3 of this year's draft was the most watched day 2 and day 3 of any draft ever.
I mean, it's the only time anybody's really ever cared about day 2 and day 3, to be fair.
and we're talking about a business. The NFL is a business.
What do I mean, anybody? I care.
You're the buddy.
No, it was everybody was like, where's Shedeur gonna go? Where's Shedeur gonna
Exactly.
go? My problem too with this whole situation. Have you guys I'd like to add an honorary bad of the week if possible.
Oh, we're going back.
Have you guys seen Mel Kiper lately?
No.
Mel Kiper, draft expert. I mean that loosely. I'm going to look dead in the camera. Mel Kiper, somehow, if you find this, if we can do like a pink slips, like I'll race you for your car to get your spot on ESPN, run it back, brother.
I would pay money.
There's
to see
not a
that.
chance. Not a chance. I sell sheetrock for a living, and I'm a better draft analyst than you. That's your full-time job. Next. Anyway, that's bold. Anyway.
He's not going to listen.
He's out here. Just everybody tag Mel Kiper Jr. or ESPN. Everybody. Just flood it. Anyway, he's
I'm
saying...
getting pretty brazen with the TikTok. That
Yeah,
might end up
you're
on
getting-
there.
You're getting there. You're getting there. Is Mel... Just a poll. Is Mel Kiper Jr. an idiot?
That's the daily poll. Is he out of his mind?
Dude. So Mel Kiper pretty much had a meltdown because Shedeur didn't go number 2 overall. This is a guy that said Jimmy Clausen was going to be the guy. This is the guy that said Ryan Mallett was going to end up being better than Cam Newton. This is the guy that said Johnny Manziel should have went number 1 overall. Like, this guy's takes have been outrageous. And then he has the audacity to look at the camera and say the NFL doesn't know how to evaluate quarterbacks. What are you talking about? If you know how to do it, why are you still at ESPN? Why have you not done the Mayock route and went to be a GM? Mayock wasn't a great GM. We could all agree on that. He made one good draft pick, and it was Max Crosby. But Mayock made it as a GM. Why haven't you done anything, Mel? Because you're bad at your job.
That's
okay? It's people that can mess up at their job. It's weatherman, and right under it is Mel Kiper Jr.
Wow. Very good, Anthony.
The draft
Tell 'em how you
fires
feel.
me up, boys.
It sure does. You know what fires me up? Goaltending. Goalies fire me up. And I'll tell you who's fired up right now, and it's Connor Hellebuyck. And he's not fired up in the right way.
But he's rattled.
But he is rattled, and I'll tell you something that I didn't write on our script here. I listened and watched today during my prep to his interview, and he was very honest. Very honest. If you're not sure, Connor Hellebuyck is the goaltender for the Winnipeg Jets, and after winning games 1 and 2, the Jets, who are the President's Trophy winning team from the season, have dropped 2 straight games to the Blues. And let's give the Blues all the credit in the world here because the games were not even that close. Connor Hellebuyck has set up and established a very alarming trend. So his last 3 regular season save percentages were 920, 921, 925. Progressively better. He's been a Vezina finalist every single year, including this year.
2 in a row, pretty much.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He'll win it this year. And he will win it. Darcy Kemper's not winning it. Sorry. It's cool that he's in there, but the last 3 playoff seasons, 886, 864, 817. That is a dramatic drop-off. Dramatic isn't even the word for it. I mean, he's dropped over 10 or over 1 whole tenth from 925 to 817. That's 10+% down, which means something's wrong. 10 of his last 14 games overall, he's given up 4+ goals. And so his interview, I don't know if you saw it, but his interview was so telling. He said, nobody studies this position more than me, and so I should be the best at it. Nobody puts in more work than I do. I'm sure this guy literally breathes goaltending. I know other goalies in the NHL do too. But you see his preparation, and it's believable. This guy lives to play hockey. He lives to play goalie more than anybody else. It's just, I can see what he's saying. Nobody does this more than me. Yet there's a problem. I'm not going to make big changes, but something has to change. He goes, you don't go from having the league's best save percentage to having the league's worst save percentage in a couple weeks. There's got to be some reason. So he's analyzing his own tape. He's trying to make corrections, and I guess time will tell, if this corrects. But there are big issues in Winnipeg. And let's not act like Hellebuyck is the problem here. Okay, it's not just him, but he said himself, I have to stop more pucks. Mm-hmm. It's a hard thing to come to grips with, but what you start doing when you give up 6 goals like that is you start analyzing every goal, and even when there's plays that there's no way you're saving, a tip, a 2-on-1, something like that, you start saying, I could have played this differently. And you start to get into an unhealthy mindset like that. So I think Hellebuyck, he's got a lot of work to do.
Well, one thing I noticed too is Hellebuyck, even during the Four Nations, where those are big games, if you take away his game against, was it Finland, where he shut him out, he didn't have good stats either.
No, and Binnington got the better of him in that series as well.
2-1, 1.59 goals against, 932 save percentage, which sound like good numbers here, but when you realize that it was, he had that one game against Finland and helped out, but
the numbers aren't so much the problem there. It was the quality of the goals he was allowing, and the timeliness of them, and it was just uncharacteristic for him. So it started a trend.
Is this a thing where maybe Hellebuyck can't win the big game?
Right. That's exactly.
He's a regular season merchant, as the kids call it.
I mean, that was what Marc-Andre Fleury was like for a while. And I know we're going to talk about the Wild next.
Oh, boy, are we.
And Flower was in, but Fleury started off his career by he was chased out of the Islanders series. He was chased out of the series, out of the playoffs in 2016. He was chased out in 2017 in favor of Matt Murray both times. And it did win against the Red Wings. Couldn't get the job done the year before against the Red Wings. And now he's that all-around excellent goalie, and he was last night again. The loss is not on him whatsoever.
Don't want to get started.
The guy stepped in, regardless of what you're going to say. Marc-Andre Fleury is just a fabulous goaltender, and he was shining like a star that he is last night. But I know Anthony wants to talk about the Wild. Nick, get ready for this.
Well,
Can I have the chicken?
As we speak, just give it to him right on the skew. As we speak, the Winnipeg is up on the Blues. Kyle Connor.
No one cares.
Kyle Connor beat Benner minute 23 into the game. Anyway,
I have breaking news.
Okay.
A fan fell 20 feet at the Cubs-Pirates game from the outfield wall.
He fell off the Clemente wall 21 feet, got stretchered to the hospital.
Yeah, and the game was delayed.
Nice.
Okay. Speaking of delays, good segue, even though I hope that guy's okay. I know we're not in Minnesota. I hope we get a following in Minnesota because we're a hockey podcast. They're the state of hockey. The NHL, speaking of entitlement, it really seems like they don't want their shiny team in the Vegas Knights to lose games. The officiating in this series has been absolutely horrendous. Now, I'm not saying it as an excuse. It has been horrendous. Okay, we'll start off. I haven't watched the games. I'm superstitious. They lost the first game that I watched. The second game I didn't watch. They won. So I'm not watching any games. Chris, did you see the Game 4 goal? Mark Stone, Thomas Hertl goal?
Yep.
Nikki, did you see it?
I saw the whole game. Yes, I watched it.
He's a Vegas fan.
They're
better than the Lightning.
Can you tackle a player
I'm an
in
Edmonton
hockey?
fan.
Can you tackle a player in hockey? Can you tie him up, tackle him, and just pin him down in front of the goalie crease?
In the playoffs, yes.
Yeah. In the playoffs.
So that's how they scored one of those games. Mark Stone just flicked the puck at Hertl, who was pinning Ryan Hartman to the ice, and it just bounced off of him into the goal. Really nothing
Right,
Gus
that's a
could have done
bad
there.
break.
Horrible break. Should have been called. Awful.
It could have been called, yeah.
Could have been called.
But it won't be in the
We'll
playoffs.
talk about it. Another thing that happened last night, Ryan Hartman again. Cross-checked in the face. Did that get called? No, it did not.
That was bad.
And that's not the first time there's been missed cross-checks. It was horrendous.
That was a blown call.
Calls do get missed on both sides.
Well, Nikki, you know what doesn't get missed? About a quarter of an inch on a skate. Because, as we can imagine, Minnesota is down 3-2 in this series. In a series, they really should be up 3-2 and going home for Game 5 or Game 6.
Well, if they should be, then they would be.
So
Let him get there
we have
first.
2 reviews in this Wild game, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A minute and 30 seconds left in the game. It's tied up 2-2. Ryan Hartman, who we've had problems with on this show, we've called him a scumbag.
Yep.
He's played like a rat. The guy steals the puck, goes pretty much coast to coast. A great move, beats Adin Hill for a goal. Wild go up by 1 with like a minute 30 left. I'm thinking the game's going to be over. Well, they reviewed it first to see if he kicked the puck. Okay? They check it. No, goal is good. While they were reviewing that, what had happened while they were reviewing it was that gives time for Vegas to then use a coach's challenge.
Yep.
They said, you know what? We have nothing to lose. Let's check if they were offsides.
Yeah.
And by what I could only say is this beard hair. Okay?
At least done.
A skate goes offsides. No goal. Game goes into overtime.
That's the right call.
Vegas wins.
Good call. That's the way it goes.
Now listen.
Quarter of an inch is a quarter of an inch.
I'm not disagreeing that it's the right call. My issue is Vegas should not have had 3 to 4 minutes to challenge that.
Why not?
Why not?
Well, listen.
No. They were reviewing a kicked puck, right?
Yes.
Should they have been reviewing the kicked puck?
Yes.
So what's
All
the
right,
issue?
well, then that's their 3 minutes.
Yeah, there's your 3 minutes right there.
No.
Are you just angry?
No. I'm not angry because they had an opportunity to win in overtime. I'm
Right.
not going to complain about that. What I'm complaining about is that's like in the NFL, if something happens where you want to challenge a play and there's an official review, you can no longer challenge anything else on that play because so much time has elapsed. You can't do that. You don't think...
Yeah, but they didn't challenge the kick. The refs were reviewing it.
Yes, but what I'm saying is the only reason that I think at least the only reason that Vegas even challenged it is because they got to watch the play over and over and
Well, you
over
know
and
they've got
over for 3 to 4 minutes.
Yes, and
Exactly.
the Wild would have done the same thing if that happened the other way around. No?
Yes.
Probably,
Any team
yeah.
would have.
Like I said, I'm not arguing with the call. It was the correct call.
Yeah.
But
It's tough.
the problem was that they sat around for too long.
Yeah.
If you want to, especially in the playoffs, if you want to make a game-altering decision, you should have 30 seconds max to make that.
What teams do now is they call timeout. They'll call a timeout, and then at the end of that say we're going to challenge this.
Well, and
which
that's
I hate too.
that's what I like about the NFL. You can't challenge after a timeout. You have to call it before the play goes. You can't say timeout and then go. They can't review it and then you go. Once the play is done, it's done.
The one thing I will say about the offside challenge that does annoy me is when the offside has nothing to do with the outcome of the play. That's frustrating. As it's got to be called. It's one of the black and white rules in hockey that I agree with. That all right, if you're going to challenge for offside, it better be one or the other.
It just doesn't make sense why there isn't like a VAR type system for it at this
Right.
point.
It
Like,
should be a VAR.
it should be checked on the screen in like 2 seconds,
Right.
and the play's called off. So we don't waste the next 5 minutes in the offensive
Right.
zone for a goal that gets called back from 5 minutes
You're
earlier.
absolutely right. Or especially when it gets to a minute and a half left in the game like it was, and take the fans out of it, but you go from the momentum of scoring that goal to having it taken away, and that does something to you, whether or not you want to admit it.
Absolutely.
It does something to you as a player. So that's just my one gripe with it. I do appreciate how black and white that is compared to goalie interference, which is a disgusting, awful, stupid situation. Yeah. I hate how goalie interference is handled. We've seen it all season. So I do feel for you. As kind of a neutral party in the whole series, I feel for you.
Like I said, if Vegas came out and as soon as Hartman scored, they're like, nope, we think he was offsides. Let's challenge it. Totally different. Cool. You won your challenge. That's what you have you have the right to do that. But again,
you think they milked the clock a little bit and got extra looks. I also think the league wants Vegas to win.
Absolutely.
Gary has wanted the Golden Knights to win ever since they started. It is good for business. It's good for business, and they're a fun team to watch. As annoying as it is sometimes.
I don't really care what you say about whatever team wants to win by the league or whatever. I'm just tired of every time I go into a comment section, seeing whatever team wins, refs versus whatever team lost. Every comment section on every loss on every team. It doesn't matter who won, who lost. Next game, the Wild will win, and it'll be Vegas versus refs. Does not matter who wins.
I agree.
And anybody that says that literally just does not watch the game.
St. Louis tied it up.
Yes. Whoever says blank versus refs does not watch the actual games and realize how many situations lead to the actual loss than just the referees.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the last play of the game or the first play of the
That's
game.
the thing is I'll never say Minnesota versus the refs because very similar, like I just said, Minnesota had the same amount of time in overtime to win that game.
Yeah.
That's why the thing that still bothers me is the egregious pass interference call a couple years ago when it was Saints versus Rams to go to the Super Bowl. Everybody was like, well, that changed the game. Well, okay, Drew Brees had the rest of that game and overtime to go try to win it. So, yeah, it changed the outcome right there, but you didn't have to not try the rest of the game. So, again, I'm not saying it's Minnesota versus the refs. I'm not saying it's this team, that team versus the refs. What I am saying is I think Minnesota has been the better all-around team this entire series.
Yeah.
They've looked really good.
Definitely 5-on-5.
Oh yeah. Which we were worried. We were super worried about that. They've been more physical. Marcus Foligno has been insane.
I don't think the series is over. I think it's going 7.
Oh, for sure.
That was a prediction. Well, one of our predictions was very wrong.
Yeah.
All of our brackets are busted as of recording this right now.
We don't know that for sure.
Tampa Bay has been eliminated.
They have not been eliminated.
They're out. It's 5-3, 5 minutes.
Also, if you think I'm being biased about Vegas, you can ask Chris what I texted him about the Lightning controversy last night. Or 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
With Ekblad. I said, I don't care if he should have been in the game or not. We can't not score on a 5-minute power
Exactly.
play.
True.
Exactly, and he got what was coming to him. He
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
suspended.
and we're still getting blown up. So
Right.
So, do we want to go to the next one?
Yeah, I want to talk about this baseball thing.
I'm really glad you said controversy, Nikki. So, how much have you kept up with baseball professionally recently?
me,
Yeah.
0.
Okay.
Actually, not true. I've been checking the White Sox games every day.
Well,
Genuine.
you've been disappointed.
Okay, so I have a bold take here, and I was thinking about this today while I was cooking. I think Aaron Judge's prime is better than Mike Trout. I think Aaron Judge is a better player than Mike Trout. Prove me wrong.
I think that's I think that's an unfair comparison.
Do tell.
I think Jordan Poole is a better basketball player than, I don't know, Fred VanVleet. Yeah, Jordan Poole gets to be the number one on the Washington Wizards, while Fred VanVleet has an entire team around him. That makes him play better.
What?
The team you're on dictates a lot.
Are you saying that Trout would be even better if he was on a good team?
100%. All his stats would get inflated to 1 million.
How?
How? RBIs would be 4
What
times
about
what
Juan
he has
Soto?
now. What about him?
He sucks, and he's on a really good team, the best
Yeah,
team.
but he's on the Mets.
But they're the best
Yeah, but
team
he's
in
not
baseball.
happy on the Mets, is he?
That billion whatever dollar contract tells me otherwise.
Are you
Does
telling?
he look happy on the Mets?
No, he absolutely doesn't, which is hilarious.
Okay, so
Are you trying to say that even though Trout and Ohtani were said to be the two best players in the world, they're playing on the same team? You're saying Ohtani's numbers would have been better on a different team?
I've seen players waste their careers away on bad teams.
And Mike Trout did that indeed.
And that is what Mike Trout has done.
Now, let me see.
If he was on a winning team his whole career, he would have had one of the greatest careers of all time.
And despite that,
And talk to a wall.
Despite that,
Nikki, that is one of the dumbest takes I've ever heard in my life.
and to Nicky's point, his batting average over his prime years is 301 compared to 294 for Judge, which is not really. It's not a significant difference in fewer games. So obviously, I took his best years, and I've taken Judge's best years, including the present, which would be this prime. The WAR is pretty similar. Trout's is higher on average per 162 games, but lower overall. Similar plate appearances. Judge has more runs. He has almost 100 more hits. Less doubles, less triples, but more home runs. More runs batted in. So what I see is OPS for Trout is higher. Slugging is almost identical. On base percentage is almost identical. I think it's a tough thing to say Judge is better right now. I think it's a good thing, a fair thing to say that they had even primes so far.
If I was building a team around Mike Trout in his prime or Aaron Judge in his prime, I'm taking Aaron Judge 10 times out of 10 times. The reason why? How many games has Mike Trout missed with injury? The reason I started thinking about
How is
this,
that his prime? How does that have anything to do with his prime?
those are his best seasons.
Him being injured is his prime?
If you're injured during your prime, yes.
Okay, so his prime stats are 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. If we're talking about when he's injured.
No, his prime stats from 2015 to 2022 are these stats right here.
I don't
never
know
heard
if
someone
I would
include
pick
injury in a
Judge
prime.
over Trout. I don't know if I would do that. I don't know. I don't.
Well, we've never gotten to see Trout on
I
a
think
good
Trout
winning team.
is a better all-around baseball player, to be honest with you. I think he's a
5'2".
better fielder. I saw Aaron Judge drop a can of corn in the World Series.
5'2" Aaron Mike Trout. Yes, he's a better fielder.
I think he's a better all-around baseball
Better fielder.
player.
He runs the bases better. I'm not giving him hitting, and
He's a better hitter.
I'm not giving him his arm.
He's a better hitter by his average. He's a better hitter.
Debatably.
He has a better batting
He has
average.
almost equal stats with 100 less games.
Well, you could argue that both ways. You could say that in the next. We're talking about prime. In his 100 games after his prime, he's lower. Still good, but not as high. So no, what we're going to say is that they're pretty darn even all the way across the board. Trout had 25 triples to Judge's 6, as well, which is really the only stat of all of them that is drastically different by several hundred, by several higher percentage. Everything else is within 10 points or so. Judge has 300 plus more strikeouts. But different hitters, right? Totally different hitters. Judge has ground into 101 double plays compared to 41 for Trout. I'm just trying to look at stats that jump out either way. I think they're pretty comparable. And I think that I would love to build a team around either one of them in their prime. But to be honest with you, because of the fielding, I might go Trout. I might pick Mikey Trout.
So my thing, right? I'm going to look at different seasons. Head to head, it's leaning more towards Trout, but your batting average, your on base, your slugging, your OPS, and your OPS plus is judged by a lot. By a lot.
But you said prime, and I took their prime years, and they're pretty much dead even in comparability. But he was an all-star. He was the rookie of the year. He was hitting 284. Why is that not fair to put in?
Because
that was helping him.
Yeah, but you're no, I get that. I get that, but you're comparing his whole career to half of Mike Trout's career. If
you said his prime!
Yes, and Mike Trout has been out of his prime for a while. Mike Trout's prime was from 2013 to 2018.
You just said the numbers are almost the same on yours.
Yeah, if you
in the last 5 years, Judge has hit 306. If you want to call the last 5 years his prime, we won't know what his prime is until he starts going down. He might end up better. I'm saying so far they're on similar trajectories career-wise. It's very similar. Neither of them are winners. Not one of them. They've both got that in common, too. They both are on loser teams that don't win. So do every Mets player, for the record. Because I'm not done with them. All the Athletics. Every White Sox and Rocky.
Hey!
Not one mountain is exempt here.
Well, I think it's quietly gone under the radar. I think it's quietly gone under the radar that the Rockies are projected to win 28 games.
24?
Come on, give my White Sox a break.
That's insane, dude.
And one of my takes when you weren't here was, I think the Rockies are not going to be the second worst team. And I was right. They are the worst.
24 games. Do we remember in 2017, the Cleveland Indians won 23 in a row?
Right, yes.
It was 23 in a row.
The Dodgers have won 20 in a row a few times. It's oh, it's bad. All right. Grammys Grinders of the week.
To the grinders.
All right. I'll go first and you guys can finish. My grinder is sixth man of the year, Peyton Pritchard. This is the NBA. He had just in case anybody's confused at who I'm picking. It's not a hockey player. So he's my Grammys Grinder of the week because in 3 of the 5 games against the Magic, he did exactly that, and he was huge. He had 10 or more points in 3 of the 5 games against the Magic on the way to the first round win. And it is so important to have a good sixth man. I think of J.R. Smith for the Knicks back in 2013. When he was their sixth man, and he just played so many important minutes. I mean, Pritchard's playing over 23 minutes a game, and those are big minutes, and he's being productive, and he's my Grammys Grinder of the week.
My Grammys Grinder is linebacker for the Green Bay Packers by way of the Texas Longhorn, Barron Sorrell. Amid first to second round buzz, this guy fell to the 4th round. Why do we care? Well, he was invited to the draft in Green Bay. and he waited it out for almost 3 full days. And he went out and he had his moment with the commissioner in Green Bay to get drafted by the hometown team. The fans went absolutely nuts for this guy. A feel-good story. And if this is any indication of his future with the NFL, in the NFL, with the Packers, this guy's going to be scrappy. He's going to get like 5, 7, 10 sacks a season.
Isn't that so cool?
It's awesome.
Because you see what we talked about Shadur Sanders earlier, but this guy fell to the 4th round amid the buzz, like you said. But there's a different feeling about it. There's this camaraderie now with the hometown team and the fans are in it. It's such a different feeling, similar situation.
And it's going to be one of those where, God forbid he wins a defensive player of the year or something like that. He turns out to be great. They're always going to go back to that draft thing. Hey, remember when he sat it out by himself in the green room? And
yeah,
remember that? And that's what these moments are for. The guy, it didn't, obviously the night didn't go as expected, or the nights didn't go as expected as he wanted to, but
he got drafted.
He was there for it. He had his moment with the commissioner, that's awesome.
Very cool. All right, Nick.
I got 2, and they're both losers, but they are also grinders. I got Darcy Kemper and Jacob Markstrom.
Wow, okay.
Because I feel extremely bad for them, because they're the only reason their teams had a chance at winning any of the past 2 games for Kemper and 1 game for Markstrom.
Oh, my God. Markstrom was unbelievable yesterday.
Kemper has saved 81 out of 88 shots in his past 2 games. He is just getting peppered, and he is doing everything he can.
2 games.
920 save percentage in those 2 games, and 2 losses in those 2 games, one of them being an overtime loss. And then Markstrom with 53 shots faced and 49 saves. 49 saves in a double overtime loss.
That was heartbreaking.
I've seen goalies get mad before. At the end of the game, when that goal went in, I don't know if you saw the clip.
Oh, I saw the clip.
I have never seen a goalie. I thought he was going to take someone's head off with that stick.
He was looking around, I think, to make sure that nobody was going to get hit, and then he just destroyed it.
Yeah. And I felt every bit of emotion because he did everything.
Yeah.
I watched.
There was the Devils had no business winning, even being close in that game. The whole 3rd period and the whole overtime. That's what the Hurricanes do. They take over the game in the 3rd period, and they just suffocate you. And Markstrom somehow got them through all of overtime, all of double overtime until the goal went in. Those are 2 great picks because boy, oh boy, they deserved better fates.
I don't know if you saw Kemper's overtime performance too, but he made some insane.
I've watched like every game. I'm so happy.
Yeah. They've been good ones.
Oh, man.
I love that series, the Edmonton series.
It's good, and it's not over yet.
Anyways, Darcy Kemper and Jacob Markstrom.
Very good.
We switched roles today. I don't know why.
I know, it's very strange. Very good. Follow us on TikTok at Sports and Spag Pod and on Instagram at Sports and Spaghetti Pod. And thank you, everybody, so much for watching and listening. And do this.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you next video.
Thank you, Sabrina. Anthony, take us away.
All righty, we got Nikki, we got Chris, we got Ant, we got various sauces. I'm an exotic olive oil taster at this point. We got empty skewers. It's been a good time. As always, take care of your loved ones. Taste some exotic olive oil. And as always, stay full.